Alrighty guys, what is going on? Sorry for the delay there. Job is in the building. He's still outside, still working right now. And I just didn't want to start the show with him blazing, him blaring his whatever he was working on at the time right outside this door. Like, it gets crazy loud, and it's very possible that he'll still have to come over this way and do this little area. Today is a very big gay. Yes, it is, D Fierce. It is a very big gay. And who would know better than you, D Fierce? Who would know better than you? But yeah, so no, today is actually not that big of a day. Today is September 19th. And yesterday we did have the release of Transference. We had the release of Blind. We had the Honor and Duty open beta that is going on PlayStation VR. And I've tried all of these things. So I've tried the Honor and Duty open beta. I luckily got my hands on Transference, but it was late. It was late in the evening last night when I finally got my hands on Transference. I have not completely finished Transference. I have been in there for at least an hour and a half, I would say. Yeah, probably, yeah, a good solid hour and a half. I've heard a lot of people say Transference is 2 hours. It's an hour and a half. It's an hour to 2 hours. You blink and the game's over with. And I'm still in it. So I know I was in there an hour and a half, but I finally decided, you know what, let me stop. This is enough. It was getting late. It was pretty late at night. And I was like, I'm not going to force myself to run through this whole thing right now just to go ahead and do that. So I will be playing the rest of Transference today, most likely. And I'll definitely get into my thoughts on Transference. However, before we get into Transference, Jim Hall says, LOL, there's nothing to it. Just copy the link into the browser window. Yeah, but I got to figure out, see, the thing, Jim Hall, is I got to make sure everything is operational. I don't want to be I gotta take some time and be able to relax and say, okay, does this work? How do I integrate this, etc.? It might be incredibly super easy, but I got to take time. I got to figure it out, and I'm working on a million things. It is very difficult. So, but eventually I will absolutely get to that. I know I will get to that. Look how long. Just think about this, Jim Hall. Look at how long it took me to figure out this OBS thing. I mean, it took me forever, to be able to go full screen with this trailer, to be able to put my small little video window here, to go back to the normal mode, to go to a web browser and all of that. It took me forever to learn how to do all this stuff. So it takes me a little bit longer, and I've got a million things going on, man. It's quite chaotic. And so even though it might be super simple, it might take me a minute. Okay, person is saying, finally got around to trying Wolfenstein 3D VR. Damn, Vive controller started shutting off randomly after a bit. Might have something to do with the recent Steam VR beta. And one thing that MAME fans said recently, you guys remember when I had that show where I was talking about the 10 best VR games of the last 3 months. And I was talking about stuff that came out in the month of July, stuff in August, and stuff so far in this month of September. And I ranked out 10 games. Main fan was like, bro, where is Wolfenstein 3D VR? He thinks it's better than all of those games. And the truth is, I actually didn't even think about Wolfenstein 3D in comparison to those other games, but I don't know that I would put Wolfenstein. I mean, as cool as Wolfenstein 3D is, and it's this retro thing and it's super cool, not sure I would put it in that top 10 there. Main fan is like, bro, what are you talking about here? Are you out of your mind? Yeah, let me grab that list real quick. Let me grab my list that I had. And we could talk about it. Yeah, so this was the list that I had. Pixel Rip 1989. I mean, Wolfenstein ain't jumping ahead of that. It ain't jumping ahead of Windlands 2. Not Hellblade. Not virtual reality. Okay, now when we get into Seeking Dawn and Firewall and Persistence and Megaton, okay, maybe it jumps somewhere around there. Maybe I would put it I'd probably, maybe I'd put it after the Persistence, maybe. But anyway, that's kind of what I was thinking as far as, and Kenny Poo says, ha ha ha, that's what I was thinking as far as Wolfenstein 3D. It needs to be up here. And, you know, maybe it does. Maybe it needs to be at number 8 or number 9 or something. Maybe Electronauts gets bumped off of the list, but it would be pretty far down the list for me. These were the 10 best VR games in the recent last couple of months there. So that is that. But let's go back. I do have a comment that was made on the show on one of the recent episodes, and I wanted to address this comment because I think it's kind of interesting. Pinnacle Rising left a comment. Now, this is 15 hours ago, so I believe, you know, yesterday he left this comment. Pinnacle Rising says, Anthony, I don't think you've played enough of Blind. I have heard that it gets ridiculously hard and frustrating to the point where it is unplayable. And then another thing that I heard is somebody was talking about, is it Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis? He reviewed Blind and basically said that it's a dud, like skip it, like Blind is not good. Okay, so here's what I'll say about Blind. While I talk about Blind, let me go ahead and grab a trailer for Blind. Might as well have a trailer playing in the background while I talk about this. So here's the thing about Blind. So I've played Blind up until a certain point, and at that certain point, I got stuck. Let me turn down this volume. Okay. So I've played Blind for, I don't know, it seems like maybe a couple of hours. I don't know. I'm pretty early into the game, and I got to this one area where I'm stuck. And so this could be minor spoilers here just to explain where I am in this game. Okay, so where I am, for anybody that might actually be playing Blind yourself, then you might realize where I am in this game. Where I am is I got to this room, like a library room, where there are these recordings. That room right there, actually, that's the room that I got to. If you're seeing this video right here, I think this is the room that I got to, where there's these little tape recorders, these little mini recorders that are left around, and there's about 4 different little tape recorders that have you hit the play button, and it's quotes from your dad, like your dad's talking about this, your dad's talking about that. And so that's the room that I'm in. And then there's also a bathroom. So there's this bathroom, and there's this library, and there's these 4 tape recorders, and I'm stuck. I'm stuck on this puzzle. I don't know what to do. I've looked all around. I've explored every nook and cranny, and I'm not sure what to do in regards to the puzzle that I'm stuck in Blind. And it's almost to the point where I'm going to have to go and look at somebody's walkthrough and try to figure it out, because I had these 4 recorders, and what I figured was you got to play these 4 recorders in the right order of when the recording transpired. And so it's kind of this puzzle that you have to figure out, and I guess I just haven't done it right, and so that's where I'm stuck in Blind. And apologies, because Job is getting really close to this back door over here, a slight increase in background noise, but I'm stuck at this part in Blind. But what I do want to say is everything that I've played up until this point, I've enjoyed it. And for $20, see, I would buy Blind for $20. That's what I would buy Blind for. For $19.99, I still feel like it's a real quality title. Now, what I'm hearing from some other people, though, is that the game just gets ridiculously hard. Like, the puzzles just get ridiculously hard, and maybe I've just barely gotten to that point where these puzzles get ridiculously hard. But I'm enjoying Blind. I'm enjoying Blind just as much as I was enjoying Torn. Maybe even more, you know, like Blind and Torn. Like, if somebody said, you know, here's Blind, here's Torn, you know, which one of these do you want? You know, it's a hard decision. I put Blind right there with Torn, and, you know, both were $20, I believe, upon release. And I think they're both high quality games for $20, but then they're kind of on launch discounts. And so now I believe they're both $25. And so when you go to $25, you're asking for a little bit more, Would I put that money on Windlands 2? Hell yes. Hell yes. Windlands 2 is the game, in my opinion. In fact, MameFan sent me an email recently. He said that he has finished Windlands 2 and that it basically took him 6 hours to get through Windlands 2. So that's a pretty good length of time. You know, that's a pretty good chunky amount of time. And then you also have, of course, the multiplayer as well. So not too bad. Now, everybody in chat right now is talking all about Pimax, HMDs, how much they're priced at. Chris Cox is saying new tech always is, though. Look at the iPhone X, or even when 4K TVs first came out. Dr. Freeman says we can't hear Job at all, to be honest, which is great. Awesome. I'm glad you guys can't hear Job. Person says regarding the RTX cards, all I want to know is if I can super sample every single VR game at 2.0 or higher with virtually no reprojection or dropped frames. And I guess person is saying, look, if you can promise me that, then I will go ahead and withdraw the $1,350 that I need to withdraw to go ahead and grab one of these brand new 2080 Ti's. Crunchy says, if you look at all the prior graphics card launches, they weren't marked up this high compared to the prior generation. And Factory Life says 1080 Ti hasn't come down in price. It's 2 years old. Jim Hall says not compared to a Titan 5, cheaper and better performance. Crunchy, you're paying for all that RTX research and development. So basically what we're talking about here is the incredibly expensive prices of these brand new graphics cards. And are they juicing the early adopters? Yes, they're juicing you. They are juicing you at a very high degree. And, you know, people are going to pay the money and they're going to sell enough to the early adopters, and then the prices are going to come down a little bit. This is just the way things works. See, the reality that we got to understand here, and this goes back to like those iPhones, like the recent iPhones that came out. There's a certain iPhone that's like $1,500 for a freaking phone that you carry around. Like, I would be so scared to set that phone down anywhere and forget it and leave it somewhere, because it's basically a freaking laptop. I mean, if you're paying $1,500 for a phone, you're paying for a laptop. But the thing we got to remember here, folks, is there are a lot of people that are balling at a high level, and they got the money to burn, baby. They got the money to burn. There's a lot of affluent people that are out there, and they will spend the $1,500 on the iPhone X. They will spend the $1,350 on the 2080 Ti. And so us regular, normal, everyday Joes, we kind of get screwed because these companies, you know, they know that there's this affluent base of early adopters that gotta have the latest bomb stuff. They gotta have the new hotness. That's what they're all about. And they want to juice those people. They want to get all that money. They want to juice these early adopters, these affluent people. And then after they've juiced all of those guys, then maybe 4 or 5 months later, then they drop the price a little bit. And then the regular Joes can start thinking about it. Chris Cox says some people don't have the money. They just have, or some people have the money, but they have different priorities. I believe that's what he's trying to say. And Crunchy says, yeah, the new iPhones and the Apple Watches are expensive as hell. But isn't it cool that that new Apple Watch can do like a freaking electrocardiogram, so you don't need to go to the doctor anymore if you want to find out how fast your heart is ticking or all of those kinds of things. And person says cough, Vive Pro, cough. Exactly. That's exactly what we're looking at. These companies, they've done the research. They know the demographics. There's a lot of people that are balling out of control. They got money to burn, and they want to take that money to burn. They want to utilize that money to burn. Okay, so what else can we talk about today? One thing I can mention is Salaryman Escape. Did you guys realize that this game came out for PC VR? Let's take a look at this video here. Salaryman Escape. This was by Red Accent Studios, is the developer. This was on PlayStation VR as like an exclusive on PlayStation VR, and now it is on September 18th. It just came out, so this is available for Vive players, Oculus Rift players, this is now available. It is $9.34. Normal price is $11, but it has a special promotion until September 25th, until next Tuesday. This game is now available. Another game, another September release. Kind of looks a little bit like Jenga or something, but it's definitely, you know, it's kind of Lemmings. It's a puzzle game. I don't know. These games kind of piss me off after a while. Is kind of my take on the Salaryman Escape. Like, when this came out to PlayStation VR, I was not very hyped on it. And now that it's on PC VR, I'm not very hyped on it either. But for those of you, yeah, a combination of Jenga and the Framed game, or that Catherine game, or something kind of like that. It is Salaryman Escape. It is now available on Steam. It is available on the Oculus Store, maybe on Viveport, not sure. But that is available now. So for those of you that weren't aware of that, that is out there. Here is the Steam page right here. We can see that the normal price for this is $11, $10.99, but 15% off here. It is down to $9.34. And it says, tired of work? Feeling trapped at your position with no hope of promotion? Vent out your deepest frustrations. Hey, are you frustrated that you can't afford that 2080 Ti? That you can't afford that Pimax 5K Plus headset? Well, vent out your deepest frustrations with Salaryman Escape, a satirical and edgy physics puzzle featuring both regular and optional VR modes. So yeah, this does have a flat version as well. This is Salaryman Escape. One user review. Oh man, that has gotta hurt. I feel for some of these companies, man. They come out, Salaryman Escape, you know, Red Accent Games and Oasis Games. I'm telling you guys, timing is everything for a lot of these games, and I feel like it's a bad time. It is a bad time to release a brand new VR game. Where were you guys in August? Where were you guys in July when we had a lot of weeks where there wasn't nothing going on? You know, there wasn't anything major going on, and we were desperate for new games. But now we are just getting bombarded left and right. It's like all these games were in development. They were stacking up. Maybe some of these games were supposed to be out in first quarter 2018, second quarter 2018. They got delayed. They got pushed back. They had some problems. And we've just got all these floodgates that are opening, all these games that are coming in September. It's really kind of overwhelming. You know, I didn't even have this as one of my September games to think about, but here it is, September 8th, Salaryman Escape. It is available as well. Chris Cox says, if you like puzzle games, you'll enjoy it. It has over 70 levels. I do like puzzle games to a degree. I like them to a degree, but see, I like puzzle games when they make me feel really smart and I'm getting through the puzzle games and things are going nice and well. And then when it starts to get really hard and it starts to make me feel like an idiot, that's where I start to dislike puzzle games. Crunchy says $10 seems a little too much still. I don't know. I think $10 is not bad for this game. I mean, this, you know, how low can you go? How low can you go? Because we go back to this idea, for example, the game like People Cubed, you know, these indie games, Whitway Studios obviously has People Cubed, and you know, we have a number of these indie games. Now those are the games that maybe should be $5, $6, $7. Salaryman Escape is, you know, at $10. I think it's probably priced at the right price. Just bad timing, just terribly bad timing in my opinion. Main Fan says, play The Witness if you want to feel dumb. You know, speaking of The Witness, that never came to VR, right? And it seemed like such a perfect type of game for VR. And Paradise Decay says, Anthony, we're getting VR modes for Slime Rancher. I did hear about that. But let's see, what else do we want to get into today? Let me go back to my window here of if I had any trailers or anything that I wanted to get in. Oh, you know what? Why don't we talk about this? Actually, wait, before we do that, let's do a goddamn intro, because I keep forgetting to do my intro. Yeah, once again, folks, VR Game Rankings, this is the YouTube channel, and it is the Daily Vlog Live. It's episode 206, Wednesday, September 19th, very late intro here. but I remembered to do it. I think it was like maybe yesterday I didn't do it at all. I forget what day, but one of these days I didn't even have my intro on there. So there is the intro. Got that out of the way. Okay, now let's talk Magic Leap, folks, just for a minute. Anyways, let's talk Magic Leap just for a minute. Angry Birds, dude. Angry Birds on Magic Leap. Let's check this trailer out. Yeah, so that is Angry Birds, which is coming to Magic Leap 1. And, you know, looking at this, watching this trailer, this looks like the first, like, nice production value thing that we've seen from Magic Leap from a standpoint of this is a nice commercial, you know? I mean, it's well done. This is a nice trailer. It looks really good. The headset looks pretty good on this chick here. I mean, it's a lot better than HoloLens, I think. Magic Leap made the right decision, I believe, by breaking up and by having that little technology puck that you put on your belt and then having the headset on your head. I think it's the right decision because I think Magic Leap does look pretty cool. Crunchy says, yeah, I think this looks better than any other Magic Leap video so far. I really do. I mean, it's good production value, good design. Now, the question is it really going to look quite as good as it looks in this video? And then also, how much of this is not going to maybe fit in the field of view? Obviously, it depends on how far you're standing away from it. She's pretty far back from these tables and from these areas where she is playing this. So it probably would fit in that entire field of view. And Crunchy said it would be darker, if anything. So he's saying, like, basically maybe it's not quite as bright as this if you're playing it in real life. But, you know, I got to imagine here that Magic Leap basically kicked out a bunch of money to Rovio because Rovio is not putting this on the Magic Leap 1 for a tiny, like, how many people on planet Earth own a Magic Leap 1 headset? Very few. Noah happens to be one of them. Noah in our chat happens to own a Magic Leap headset, and how batshit insane is that? So Noah, you're going to be able to play this Angry Birds first-person slingshot. Now, do we get any kind of a breakdown? All I did was I saw the headline. I grabbed this video. I do not know when this is going to be available, but it does look pretty sweet. It does look pretty cool. Crunchy says Noah's probably playing this right now. Noah, you didn't happen to get a sample of this, like you didn't happen to try this at the Magic Leap offices or anything like that. But yeah, it does look pretty good. I mean, it's nice. John Edwards is checking in. That's what I'm thinking. Magic Leap 1 is priced like a dev kit, a game for developers on dev kits. No, what it is Magic Leap has a war chest of a lot of money. And my guesstimation here is they went to Rovio and they said, look, we want an Angry Birds game running on Magic Leap, really dialed in, really done well. And they have to put these experiences together. One of the things that Magic Leap has to do at this point is they have to create enough of these kinds of experiences that people like me and you start to feel a bit jelly and we start to want something like this. And they got to build it up to the point where there's enough of these kinds of experiences like Dr. Gordborts and all of these kinds of things where we start to get jealous, we start to want our own Magic Leap 1, and then maybe the price of Magic Leap 1 drops down to $1,999.99, and then, you know, you start to go down that road. But I do believe this is a pretty well done trailer here. It looks pretty nice. Hopefully we see a lot more of this type of stuff, and especially like Dr. Gordborts. I'm really super jazzed. Noah, did you might not be able to answer this question, Noah, But did you get a chance to demo Dr. Groardbort's? I guess maybe you can't. You just can't answer that. You could just say, I am not allowed to comment on that, or no comment or whatever. But I'm curious if Noah got to try Dr. Groardbort's and how close that looks to like the real version of it. Person says, I'm not a fan of the belt solution. Having gone from the belt solution to the 3D printed head mount for TP Cast battery, I gotta say the head mounted battery is a lot more convenient. Yeah, I mean, you know, it depends, but I mean, it's a much smaller little device. By taking all those electronics and putting it on your belt, I think it's a better idea than HoloLens at this point in time. So yeah, that is a new trailer that we've seen for, oops, my bad there, didn't mean to do that. That is a new trailer that we saw for Angry Birds Slingshot, which is coming to Magic Leap 1. Now, speaking of Magic Leap, since we're on the Magic Leap kick, let me go into this other video. Now, I don't know too much about this. I saw this. I thought it was interesting. And this is Andy Serkis. Let's go ahead and listen into this for a second. But this is another high-end Magic Leap thing that's going to be coming.
And when he came back to the UK, he noticed that nobody was
Let's take a look at this.
even attempting to push the boundaries in the same way that Weta had with those films. So he got together with a few like-minded individuals and created this place to essentially make it as easy as possible for an actor to step on this stage, a director to be here, and a DOP as well, and get as close to the final version of that performance as possible in real time.
Magic Leap have spent the past 5-6 years developing a lightweight wearable computing device. Using meshing and reading of a room, you place digital content in that room. Using eye tracking and head pose, we know where you're looking to actually place all of that digital content that we only ever experience now via a screen in the world with you.
Andy Serkis met with Roni years ago. I think they saw in each other mutual respect for stories, for creativity.
Sound speed.
One of the common traits for both Imaginarium Studios and Magic Leap is we employ cutting-edge technology to create stories and story worlds, and that creative vision is what drives the technological advancement.
So, this is our mocap volume. The great thing is that we don't have to play by the old rules anymore. Between performance capture and Magic Leap, we can kind of throw the rulebook out. You know, forget about a fourth wall. There aren't any walls anymore.
The last big discovery in film was just going 3D. That's playing with something you already know. The format itself didn't change. You just added an extra sort of fake dimension. But what we're dealing with here is fundamentally taking that all apart and reassembling it in a whole new way.
Once you have the motion data, you can go back and recut a scene as many times as you want. So we can have a helicopter shot if we want to.
So I haven't seen this trailer yet. I saw a little bit about it, and I didn't know if it had any interesting footage in it. Dr. Freeman says, Magic Leap just frustrates me at this point. I'm not in... Okay, this is what I was wondering. Like, were we going to get some footage of what this Andy Serkis thing might look like?
Moments that
this is what I wanted to see.
When
Let's check this
you
out.
have a digital character in the room with you, and that character looks you in the eye, and as you move, they follow you.
Right now, there's a new language, a new vernacular being developed for how you actually tell stories on a Magic Leap device.
Somewhere down the line, by giving this technology to creators, things are going to come back that are going to inspire, and somebody might come completely out of left field with a thing that you're like, we didn't even know that was possible.
Well, there's no question that we're seeing a revolution in what technology can do for telling stories.
Collaborations like we're doing on this very stage are going to be defining and implementing how that change takes place in reality, which is, like I say, what's so exciting about it all.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, we didn't really get any actual like footage of. I wanted to see like what is Andy Serkis doing and what does it look like with the character, but they barely showed that, so we didn't get too much of that. But yeah, Dr. Freeman's talking about Magic Leap just frustrates me at this point. I'm not interested. Well, I mean, you're not interested because it's too goddamn expensive. But if Magic Leap 1 was $700. Would you not be interested? I think you would be interested. But yeah, I mean, it's early days. This is very similar to what we saw with HoloLens. You know, we first heard about HoloLens. There was a lot of excitement about it. We saw some different apps that HoloLens could do, but then everything kind of faded away into the background. Dr. Freeman says it's at the embryo stage. And Push the Button says, typical, Magic Leap don't show anything real. Well, we do have, of course, Noah's talk. Let me go back into chat. I got to pop it out because Noah was talking about some of the stuff he experienced. And I want to go back to that. So let me go back a little bit. Noah says, nope, nothing extra super cool, just some basic stuff, which I think they are saving for LeapCon and this fall winter. And Noah says, by New Year's, we should have a ton of crazy stuff to look forward to, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, Noah has tried some of this stuff. So that is good. But yeah, LeapCon is coming up. I believe it's October, right, in Los Angeles. So that's pretty much what we're waiting for. Jim Hall says, even if it was 500 for Magic Leap, nope. Yeah, get the hell out of Dodge, Jim Hall. I don't believe it. If Magic Leap was 499 bones, you're telling me you wouldn't drive to Best Buy this minute and grab it? I think you would. There's a lot of technology that's going on in there. 500 bones wouldn't even cover the freaking processor that's inside it. I don't believe this. I think a lot of people, see, this is what I believe to be. A lot of people is like, I can't afford that. It's not really ready yet. So I just want to not even think about it. I just don't even want to think about it. Get it out of my mind. I don't want to think about it. That's kind of my thought on Magic Leap as far as that goes. We're still waiting to see killer experiences that will blow us away. We haven't really gotten to that yet. So anyway, we've been going for a while. Why don't I get a little bit into Transference? I did play this. I did try it out. It's interesting to me that if you go to some of the various subreddits and whatnot, the take on Transference is it's all over the place. A lot of people are kind of saying it's horrible, like the controls are horrible, it's way too short, blah blah blah, all of this, all of that. So I played the Transference last night for the very first time, the real deal game, and I played it on my Oculus Rift. I played the Oculus version because up until this point I had tried the Walter test case on PlayStation VR. And so this is on an Oculus Rift, a little bit of a higher powered system, obviously, better resolution, better color, better details from a lot of these standpoints. And I got into Transference. I was playing this, and I gotta tell you, man, there were certain moments while I was playing Transference, like especially when it's doing this type of thing where it's going, and it's building the world in front of you, and there's like things flickering in and out of existence and all of this stuff that's going on. There were certain points where I was in this, especially when that weird monster thing comes right at you. It's terrifying. This game can be absolutely terrifying at certain points. It's the audio, it's the overall experience. It's kind of movie-like. I was blown away by parts of this. I really was blown away by parts of this. And I thought, this is really impressive. But at the same time, one of my problems with it is the entire time that I was playing it, I kept thinking, this is only 2 hours. This is only 2 hours. This is only 2 hours. When is this going to be over? This has got to be over soon. It's only 2 hours. It's only 2 hours. Like, I had that in the back of my mind, and that kind of screwed the whole damn thing up. I wish I never heard anything about the length and just went into it and just enjoyed it. But I was always thinking about that. And I'm like, this isn't going to last very long. So when is it going to wrap up? When is it going to wrap up? But I enjoyed what I experienced of it. I thought it was super creepy, super interesting. Now, what did I hate about it? I hate the movement. The movement, you're like so painfully slow, like just walking around. And then the other problems that I had too is like, you can stand up full height and then you can crouch and get low. And I was walking along and then all of a sudden I was crouching, and then I was standing full height. So there was a bit of some weirdness that was going on with my controls, or I was like headed in one direction, and all of a sudden I was kind of flipped over in another direction. It kind of reminded me of Torn in that regard, of some minor screwiness that was going on. But visually, audio-wise, in certain ways, there was like a 5-minute period that I was playing this, and I actually thought to myself, this is the best VR game I've ever played. Like, I literally thought that for like a 5-minute period of this experience. This part right here, that very beginning, when that kid runs to the door and then this weird ass polygonal monster comes right at you, when you're experiencing this in the flesh, when you're there and it's happening right in front of you, and the sound is so good and the visuals are so good, I was like, okay, here we are. This is some real shit. Like, this is some AAA VR gaming. Like, this is a glimpse of some next gen VR gaming. This is where VR should have been 3 years ago. This is what we've been waiting for. But I got to be honest and say that I only felt that way for like a 5-minute burst. So for part of it, I did get this like, wow, this is like a really next gen VR experience. But then other parts, I'm just walking around these hallways and I'm looking at stuff, and it has these different monitor screens that are popping up. There's different things, messages that you can grab and you can read. And it's a thriller. It's a horror game. It's interesting. It's $25. Paradise Decay says Transference is creepy as hell with just the atmosphere. Yeah, the color, the way they do the lighting and the color. When you very, very, very first start this game, you're outside of this house, you're outside of this apartment, and you're like on the streets, and you're walking over to where this like apartment is and where all of this stuff is situated. And there's like a lamp, and it's shining down light, and it just has a certain look and a certain vibe. And then you get inside the room, you get inside there, you start exploring it, and you're kind of going through these different time periods. You're flicking the light switch off and on, and it changes it up. It changes it into a different time experience. And then you have to like, you're solving puzzles that are in 2 different time periods. And so in one time period, you grab like a doorbell thing, and then you have to switch to the other time period and take the doorbell over to where the doorbell is missing. So it's kind of weird. The story's kind of convoluted. It's interesting. I'm liking it. I've got to play it more. VR fan Snakebert says Transference also comes in a pancake version. Kinty Poo says, what system did I play Transference on? I played it on the Oculus Rift. It was a native Oculus Rift version. I did not play the Steam version. Ubisoft provided me with a code. So full disclosure, didn't pay a penny for this. And I'm kind of surprised. I got a code from Ubisoft. I didn't contact Ubisoft directly. I tried to contact Spectravision, but they probably forwarded it off to Ubisoft. Got a code from Ubisoft, so hopefully that guy did not see my rant about Uplay. I did have to go through the whole entire Uplay thing. I did have to sign up. I did have to I had to figure out what my password was for Uplay and get that logged in. So I did have to go through some minor bullshit. Yes, Paul Smith, I did have to get Uplay. I've had Uplay. I had a Uplay account from a long time ago, way back in like the Rainbow Six days or whatever. For some game I was playing, I had a Uplay account. Had to get my password. Yeah, I had to run it. They've got me now. And one thing I noticed with Uplay too, this is after I was all done with Transference and I was about to go to bed because it was late at night. And I would have been able to finish the whole entire game and play the whole thing had I gotten it earlier in the day. But got it really late at night and installed it and then jumped into it and wanted to check it out. Johnny Chronic, by the way, says, was just playing Transference on PSVR, liking it a lot so far. Yeah, I think it's cool. And Paradise is also saying, and I have heard once you finish the game, it's different the second time around. So there could be, even though it might be super short, in the 2-hour-ish range, there might be a little bit of replay factor to that as well. But going back to the Uplay, when I was all done playing Transference and I'm getting ready for bed, so I got to close out my Oculus, the Uplay thing is on my window, right? And it says, do you want to keep this running in the background or not? And I'm like, oh, hell no. Do I want to keep this running in the background? No, this is exactly the point that I'm talking about. I don't want all this shit running on my computer, but I had to do it. I had to do it to be able to play Transference. And so I guess I'm set up. I'm set up now for Space Junkies. So hopefully on September 26th, I got to try to find a way to get into that closed beta and check it out now that I'm all set up with Uplay. But I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of all these people having their stores. I cannot lie. Lethal Weasel VR says, I was going to buy Transference last night, but all of the comments said it is broken. Well, I don't know. The Steam version maybe has more problems. What is broken, though, is the movement. The movement is painfully slow. And we've seen this with a number of games where you're just walking really, really slow. And it's like, I want to walk a little bit faster. And you're walking really slow. And sometimes I wonder when they make you walk so incredibly slow, that are they doing this to pad the time on? You know, because if you could walk super fast, bam, you might be able to finish Transference in 1 hour. But by making you walk really, really slowly, the game lasts a little bit more like that. I'm not sure. Kenny Poo says, at least Uplay asked you that first. I'm surprised they asked you that. Yeah, you had the option. There was like some check boxes. If you don't want Uplay to always be running in the background, you can deselect that. So I definitely did that. AJ Jones says there was authenticate. Block. I can't talk today. Something's wrong with me. AJ Jones says there was authentication issues for several hours, probably in terms of like Uplay connecting with it, because when I first got into Transference, I was first loading it up. I couldn't get into it, even though I was like signed into Uplay, and then Uplay said, do you want to connect Uplay with your Oculus account? And then I linked the two things. I linked my Uplay to my Oculus account, and then bam, everything worked great after that. But before that, I did have some problems. Paul Smith is saying Transference only has 2 stars on the Oculus store. And I Am Rut says, I'm glad I picked Blind instead of Transference. I will wait for a sale on Transference months down the road. And John Edwards says, maybe if Uplay automatically deleted itself each time I was done with it, maybe then I would give it a shot. Lethal Weasel VR, I guess I'll give it a shot tonight. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of torn with Transference because we have all these games that are all hitting simultaneously. We have Blind, we have Windlands 2, we still got stuff like Jet Island that's coming out very soon, we still got stuff like Creed, Rise to Glory coming out soon. So I mean, there's just a lot of stuff hitting. And for me, I feel like I have to like try to give my idea on where you guys should throw your money. And I don't know, it's too hard for me to say. I mean, the thing I'll say, my final thoughts on Transference until I can finish it and get farther into it, is there are certain moments that really are fantastic, that show you what a true AAA experience in VR could potentially be like. There's certain moments that do show you this, but if you don't like horror, if you don't like thrillers, I think you don't want to get near this game, because I can handle horror, I can handle thrillers, and there were certain parts where I kind of got freaked out. The audio is really good, and I think that adds a lot to it. The audio really adds a lot. But yeah, that is Transference. Sorry that my thoughts are kind of all over the place today. A little bit out of sorts here. Let me see, was there something else that I wanted to discuss real quick before we bounced out of this? Oh, you know what? Wait, there is one other thing I wanted to talk about. So yesterday we did have the beta. Now I think I might have deleted this trailer now. Let me look. Honor and Duty. So I fired up my PlayStation VR. Okay, no, I still have one of these Honor and Duty trailers. So I'll go ahead and put this one on. So Honor and Duty, let me get this on the screen here for the PlayStation Store. I did try this beta yesterday. Did anybody else try this? Honor and Duty D-Day beta for PlayStation. Whoops, I messed up. Honor and Duty. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so I tried this Honor and Duty D-Day beta, which it was released yesterday. Downloaded it, checked it out. Kev Gret is checking in. He says, I played Honor and Duty. Pretty fun for what it is right now. Very smooth and easy to get in and out of games. Okay, so here's my take on this, Kev Gret. I got to tell you, I don't have good things to say about this. And the reason I don't have good things to say about it is I started the game with a DualShock 4 controller at the very beginning. I'm in the menu. I have a DualShock 4 controller. Then I decided, let me get my Move. Let me see if the Move works with this. And then so I turned on my Move and the Move appeared. And then I was like, oh, okay, this works with moves. So then I turn off my DualShock 4 controller. I turn on both of my moves. Now I have both of my moves. So I have hand presence, right? So then I get into like a training mode. I'm in like some kind of basic training mode of this game where you're just kind of walking around. You have a gun. The gun, when I got into it, the gun looks like it's freaking this big. I mean, it's a pistol. It's a regular pistol, but it's like huge. It's like gigantic. I'm walking along and I can't figure out the locomotion of this game. Kev Gret, I must not know what the hell I'm doing because I could not figure out how to walk forward, backwards, left, and right. The controls are so incredibly convoluted, or I just don't know what the hell I'm doing because I'm trying to walk and it's walking like a it's like I'm controlling a tank. I'm not controlling a human being. Like I press one of those little buttons and I'm walking forward, but I'm just walking forward that way. And I can't, like I'm trying to say, no, I want to go this way. And then it starts making me go like that. And then I start going like that. So it's like the controls, like, why isn't it just regular freaking controls? Skyrim has showed us how to use controls with the moves. I couldn't figure this thing out, man. I had some real trouble. Then I got into a Jeep. Okay, so you hit square. I got into a Jeep. I'm driving a Jeep again. I cannot figure out how to freaking drive this game. I mean, I can't figure out how to drive the Jeeps. I'm going all over the place. I can't figure out how to control. Okay, so Kinty Poo says you've got to restart it with just the move controllers on. Bed for You 2 and GameCat says use the aim controller. Okay, so maybe it was just a cluster F from the standpoint that I started the game with the DualShock 4. While I'm in the menu, I switched to the move controllers, and maybe that just screwed the whole thing up. Okay, so Kev Gret says aim controller is what I used, no issues. And Bed for You 2 and GameCat says it's all about the aim controller. Okay, so here's what I will do. I will reserve my judgment, and I will try this again now with the aim controller. And I'll start it up with, no, I do have the aim controller. I have it's sitting right over there. My aim controller is not going anywhere. I'm not selling my aim controller, and I'm not even selling Firewall 0 Hour either. I still screw around with that on occasion. So I will play it with my aim controller. I'll give it another opportunity. Now, I don't have PlayStation Plus again, so that is a major problem, but I did get into training. I could kind of walk around. Graphics are simple as hell. I mean, you want to talk about simplistic graphics, it is about as simplistic as it gets. But I'll give it another shot. I just want to try to walk around in there, see how it works, get a feel for it. I don't know if I can get into the mode where I'm shooting bots before it tells me I need PlayStation Plus. You don't have PlayStation Plus. What the hell are you doing? You cannot play this game. But maybe I can get into the bots thing. I don't know. I'll have to see. So I will give that a try. I definitely will give that a try. Kev Gret says, the problem I have is you run out of ammo too quick and the overlay gets in your face when you turn. Yeah, the other problem too is if you go into the menu for this game, there are a million different little settings that you can change. Like you can make the camera connect to your head or connect to your hands. And I was screwing around with all these different things. You can change your how fast you walk and all. It's so many different options. And then trying to select it with my move controllers, it was just an exercise in frustration. But I will go ahead and try it. I will go ahead and try it with the aim controller. Kevgret says there was a bug. There is no PS Plus requirement. It should be fixed soon. But you're playing online. Wouldn't it require PS Plus? I would imagine it would require it. But anyway, I'll try to get in there and I'll try to screw around with it later today. I definitely will give that another shot with the aim controller, and hopefully that will work out a lot better. All right, guys, this was kind of a shit show. That happens on occasion, but you know what? I'm here every day. I bang these things out every day. It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows and unicorns. It's not always going to be like that. Sometimes it's going to be rather craptacular, and that's kind of what we dealt with today. But you know what? Definitely go ahead, bounce over to the website when you get an opportunity. Certainly subscribe to the channel, like the videos, all these kinds of things. But before I bounce out, Paradise has some last minute talk here. He says, Anthony, have you heard the rumors that PSVR 2 will be wireless? Patent plans are doing the rounds apparently. Well, you know, Sony would be smart to try to make it wireless because it's pretty obvious that Xbox is not going to bring VR, or Microsoft is not going to bring VR to the Xbox unless it is wireless. So maybe Sony wants to kind of, you know, meet that up and add that on. And then Bullet Ape says, did you try the baseball game on Steam? No, didn't hear about a baseball game. That's interesting. Is it very generic and very indie and very craptacular, or is it halfway decent, Bullet Ape? I'll have to look into that. And push the button says bye-bye. Yeah, so we will see you guys tomorrow on Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. I will see you guys then. Take it easy. Later.